Hello and welcome back to Let's Code Physics. Halloween is just a couple days away, so I thought it might be fun to do a special episode for Halloween, take a little bit of a break from all the police car chases and planetary motion, and do something a little fun for Halloween. So what I've made for you is a program in VPython. I recently started using VPython in my intro classes, and I was playing around with this as it's kind of a way to learn it and get an idea of how to use functions and things like that in it. What this code does is it creates a 3D Jackolantern based on whatever design the user gives it. So in order to use this, you do need to install Python and then VPython. There are instructions for that in the descriptions below. What you'll notice when you open the files is that there's a note at the top that says the art starts at line instructions. Basically everything else is some overhead stuff that you shouldn't have to change. You scroll down to instructions and it tells you how to create a jack-o'-lantern. So how about first I'll show you what it does and then we'll walk through how it does it. So I'm going to run this by pressing the F5 button. And it's going to run its thing. And here in the 3D window, you get a happy little jack-o'-lantern. And I'm rotating this by right-clicking with my mouse and rotating around mouth. I can rotate his mouth, yeah. So this is pretty simple jack-o'-lantern. The way I've done this, if we take a look back over at the code, is, let's make sure we keep the smiling face there in the background. That's lovely. The way it does this is I've given it a set of coordinates or a set of sets of coordinates for each of these shapes that you see there. So for example, I've got a list for the right eye, I've got a list for the left eye, and I've got a list for the mouth. Now the mouth list is longer because its shape has more points. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 points to it, so it requires 1, 2, 3, 4 points in the list. The triangles each have 1, 2, 3 points, so they require 1, 2, 3 points in the list. If this is news to you, welcome to the world of geometry. I'm glad you're here. Then what you do is you create the points that you want it to have in a list. So you just go latitude then longitude. Is it lat and lon or lon and lat? Let me check back up here. I probably should have checked that before I started recording. It is... Make shape, make arc, shapeless one, shapeless. It is latitude and then longitude. Okay, there we go. So it is latitude and then longitude. That took me a second to remember. So it's the latitude and then longitude. Now, of course, it's kind of hard to tell what latitude and longitude you want on this thing because you've just got this face staring at you. That's where this make latlon command is really helpful. I made this as a help for me and realized it would be useful for the end user as well. So if you want a grid of latitude and longitude lines to appear on the jack-o'-lantern, you just uncomment this. So you just delete the hash mark there. I'm going to do everything I can to call those hash marks and not hashtags. I'm going to leave the shapes listed here so we can see how they line up with the latitude and longitude lines. I'm going to hit F5 again. And what you get now is this grid of latitude lines and longitude lines. You can see the longitude lines intersect at the North Pole and at the South Pole. So this thing is designed with North Pole up at the top, South Pole down at the bottom, the way we usually think of a globe. I've got a couple of color indicators here. So the green one is the 0 degrees latitude, so think of that as the equator. The first red mark here is the 0, so that's the prime meridian, and then this red mark over here is just 90 degrees from that. So each one of these markings is, I believe it's 0.2 radians away from each other. Yeah, so in the make latlon subroutine, which you don't need to change that, you just have to call the make latlon once there. It increments by 0.2 radians, so that gives you an idea of what each of these is. So each of these markings is 0.2 radians apart from each other, both in the latitude and in the longitude. So if you take a look at let's take the right eye list for example. So the right eye is supposed to have a corner at 0.1, 0.1. So if you start at the intersection of the prime meridian and the equator, it means you go up 0.1 and then over 0.1, so that gets us that point. Another point it has is 0.1, 0.3, so you go up 0.1 and over 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So again, each of these markings is 0.2, so halfway between is a step of 0.1. And then there's a point at 0.3, 0.2, so we go up 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and over 0.1, 0.2, and that gives this point up here. You can see the same thing for the left eye. It was pretty easy to make. I wanted it to be symmetric across the prime meridian here, so I just had to take all of the longitudes and make them negative. Longitudes, is that the plural? I'll have to look that up later. No, tell you what, you look it up. Let me know in the comments what the plural of longitude is. I suppose the proper term is lines of longitude. To make the mouth, I had to make 4 points. So that starts at the negative 0.2, negative 0.3, so that goes down 0.2, and to the left 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, so that gets you this point here, and the other points just complete the smile there. So what you would do if you wanted to add something here, like let's say if I wanted to add a nose, what I would do is I would add a nose list, and let's say I wanted that to be another triangle. Let's say the nose started at this point here, so that would be maybe not quite up as high as the eyes, maybe like a quarter of the way up there. So let's call that 0.05 latitude, and that would be 0.0 longitude. So that's the first point. Let's have the second point be down here somewhere. So maybe that could be a negative 0.05 latitude and a negative 0.05 longitude. And then for the third point over here, I would just want the mirror of that second point. So still negative 0.05 latitude, and then a 0.05 longitude. And Python is kind enough to tell me when I completed the brackets by giving me a little gray highlight there. Let's see if that gave me, I should see a triangle right here, I'm pretty sure. Let's find out. Okay, I did not see a triangle there because I forgot the second part of the command. So this creates the list, then I have to actually tell it to make the shape. So I have to tell it make shape, nose list, and then I want it to be the color yellow. So all the color values start with color dot. Let's try that again. No errors, that's good. And lo and behold, my jack-o'-lantern has a nose now. He looks extra happy now. Is it just me, or does he actually look happier now that he has a nose? Anyway, so you're probably wondering how this works. Let's take a look under the hood for a second. Actually, let's make him even happier by getting rid of this make lat lon. So when you're done making the shape, you don't need the guidelines anymore. You just hash out the make lat lon. And wow, he looks super happy now. I swear he looks happier with a nose. Maybe we could use this to study the uncanny valley or something like that. So the way this works under the hood is there's the make lat lon, which just creates the grid. But what the make shape does is it takes each of the points, or each of the ordered pairs in the shape list, and it says, okay, I want you to take these two latitude values, connect them to these two longitude values by making an arc. So what I had to do to create this was I had to look up how to parameterize what's called a great circle on a sphere. Basically, it's if you take 2 points and you connect them with a circle that goes as far around the sphere as possible. So think of the equator as a great circle, or think of each longitude as a great circle, or really if you took a longitude and tilted it, you'd have a great circle. You know, I'm really starting to like this webcam setup here. This is my first time trying it, and I can actually gesture to you now instead of having to, make little animations and everything. That's kind of cool. I also don't get to do as many cutouts as I would, so let's hope my cat doesn't crawl up onto the computer like she sometimes does. So what I had to do is I had to look up the parameterization of a great circle around a sphere, and that's just what this make arc does. Is it takes 2 latitude values and 2 longitude values in a color, and it just takes a little drawing sphere. You notice it's got a radius of 0, so there's not another sphere that shows up, and it just takes that sphere and moves it around by this parameterization. It takes it around a great sphere. Technically, these coordinates are flipped because Python takes the upward direction as y, whereas we typically take the upward direction as z, so I had to do a little bit of transformation of the coordinates there. So that won't match exactly with what you see, but it does match in terms of if you just permute them once, you get the traditional definitions. And so what that does is that creates a single arc. So the make shape commands takes those arcs and connects them together. So all you have to do is provide it with the latitude and longitude you want it to connect, and you get the shape. You get it made out of all those arcs. So this guy is pretty basic looking. I mean, he just got a nose, for crying out loud. He is just smiling, looking up into the light. You can put stuff around on the other side if you want, but that is sort of the dark side of the jack-o'-lantern there. Sounds like a good title for maybe a parody horror movie or something. So obviously, you can make this smoother by adding in more points. So I've done that in another program, Jack-o'-lantern Face 2. So the previous jack-o'-lantern mouth had 4 points. Here I've got it with 1, 2, 3, 4. I suppose I did not actually change. Did I change anything about that? I must have saved the wrong program. Well, looks like I lost my program 2. All right, let's skip over to program 3 then. Should have checked this before I began. So excited about getting the webcam feed set up. Okay, so here we go. So I'll upload 1 and 3, and if I can find 2 again, I'll upload it as well. But this one has many, many more points in the mouth list. And what that's going to do is that's going to fill in points along the smile here, so that this thing has doesn't have quite so many jagged edges to it. Actually, I have more jagged edges. I don't have as jagged edges. Okay, so what I've done here is I've done a couple things. Number one, I've added in a tooth cutout. So now my jack-o'-lantern has a tooth. Hooray. And what you'll notice is at the bottom of the smile, it looks much more curved. Of course, we all know that curves on a computer screen are just really small lines connected to each other. So I can zoom in on that by clicking on the left and right mouse buttons and zooming in. Zoom a little too close. Too close. A little too close. And then rotating around, you can see it's still made of individual lines. There's just more of them so that when you zoom out, it doesn't look quite as jagged. So you could add more points to that. In fact, this guy, he's looking happy. He's got a tooth, but he would be so much happier with a nose. So I'm going to take my nose list here and the make shape command, not going to forget that this time, and go over to face 3. And I'm just going to paste it in here. And the beautiful thing is all these shapes are independent, so this is not going to impact that fancy mouth or anything. Oh, look, he just looks so happy. I tell you, I have just made this jack-o'-lantern's day. I can just tell. Jack-o'-lantern, have I made your day? Okay, well, we're all feeling good right here. So that's my little Halloween gift to you on Let's Code Physics. Enjoy the code. Make your own jack-o'-lantern. Would love to see your jack-o'-lantern results, either the code or screenshots in the comments below or on Twitter at Let's Code Physics. Would love to hear from you. So have a wonderful Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Bye.